Hello, everybody. Go over here. Alright. Yolandi, Azabeth Zobelo, Richard, Dev, Zanka, Paul. Hello. Thanks for joining. Yes, I didn't turn 100. I turned 24 again, but yeah. Paul said when I was 100 I didn't look as good as Lee. Oh, thanks so much. Yeah. How's everybody? How's your week been? Everything else? I might do a quick one today. I don't know if I've got flu or hay fever, but my throat's killing me, so I might not be able to talk that much. But I hope everybody's okay. Let's just do this as well. Right. Happy birthday, Wisdom Man. Thank you very much. Rough week. Oh yeah, I know your week. I went through it the week before. Yeah, bloody rough. Fucking hell. I just don't know. Just not ending with me. Every time I start to feel more myself again, I can get something else. But yeah, hopefully this is just hay fever. Q&R, Morningstar. Your birthday is tomorrow. Nice, nice. Lots of Virgos. There we go. Happy birthday for tomorrow. So I need to down a bit in my ears. It's very loud. There we go. Yes, how's everybody's week then? What you've been up to? Anything interesting? Anything you want to chat about? All that stuff. Oops, I went the wrong way. No, didn't went the right way. It's a pleasure. Glad to feel the love. Let's do that. There we go. Okay. Sorted. Paul, what is your experience with Murmur? I've been looking into working with... I haven't actually worked with Murmur myself. Let's have a look. Let's see if it's on my Viva Daemon. Yolandi, will you please explain my plan for the children? People on here may be interested. I will do just now. Let's just check on Murmur. Oh, I don't have Murmur in there yet. But it's still added. Yeah, no, I haven't worked with Murmur. Can't remember what Murmur stands for, what Murmur's office is actually. Probably had no use for them. His office is to teach philosophy perfectly and to constrain souls deceased to come before the exorcist to answer those questions which he may wish to put to them if desired. I don't really have much for use for philosophy myself, so that's probably why. Yeah. But yeah, other than that, not sure. Is Murmur Mammon? No, Chego. Murmur's very different to Mammon. I've worked with Mammon before. But yeah, no, very different. Alright, let me just explain Yolandi's thing quickly. So they're putting together, well, I think it's kind of already together. They're putting, going to start a Discord server though. It's to help children being abused and molested, and there'll be groups on there who will be doing blessings and cursings and things like that to get various people to, you know, you can bless people to get them through the court systems easier and things like that to help the children, and curse the abusers and everything else. So there will be a Discord server that will be available for that if anybody is interested in joining that cause. I believe it's still being put together and everything. I think next month with the Punk Magic zine that I'm doing, I'll actually do one. I think the topic will be child abuse. I'll have a look at some of that, and then if the Discord server's ready for that by then I'll put that into that, and you can all get hold of that. If anybody is interested in the Punk Magic stuff, and the zine itself, go to patreon.com/punkmagick with a K at the end. And it's free, but there is a $5 tier if you do want to actually support the movement itself. Okay, Landy, just tell me if I've got everything right there, or if I've got anything out of place. Paul, I've been interested mostly for his association to necromancy and philosophy too. Okay. So I don't remember Murmur being connected with necromancy, to be honest with you. I'm just going to check Connolly's book. Alistair. Hello. Hi, Alistair. And Andrea's there. Hello, Andrea. I'll just find this quick. Tree. Where did I put this book down? Yeah. Black Magic Society. Hello, hello. Hope you're doing well. Over there, and then right, let me just carry on with the chat while what's finding that. Hang on. Oh, here we go. So Connolly said, Murmur can keep the dead from harming the living or overstaying its welcome in possessing a medium during channeling sessions. Murmur, for me, was one of the more aggressive and intimidating necromantic demons of the Greater. Okay. Oh, apparently it also says in original purpose teaches philosophy and can be invoked for necromancy. Oh yeah, constrained souls deceased can before the exorcist. Yeah, that sounds like a very tricky one, to be honest with you. Because that's more about, I suppose, protection for the medium themselves. If you're doing mediumistic channeling with the dead, that would be a good option, actually. Chago, I'm working with Mammon recently, and I must say his sense of humour is deep. I can't say I got a sense of humour from him. Very serious, I found. You know, kind of like almost like the Taskmaster. As above, so below. Tell me that a Saturn altar is a bad idea for me. No, I wouldn't say it's a bad idea. I can't think why it would be a bad idea. Saturn would be very good for discipline. And if that's what you're going for, then definitely not a bad idea. You know, discipline, organisation, and things like that. So it could be a very good thing, actually. It does have obviously come with a current of death, but that doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing either. Andy, thank you. I started the server after the eclipse, so if anyone wants to help me be admin, well, that would be great too. Yeah, if anybody wants to help admin that Discord, just let Yolandi know through the wires. You can always let me know and I can pass on messages. Andrea, hello Andrea. And Castle, hello Castle, thanks for joining. Alright, there we go, we've got everybody here. Mammon for me was actually, as I said, was a very kind of serious energy actually. Yeah, I remember invoking Mammon the first time. I was pumped with energy for like 24 hours. I couldn't stop working. I was just going. It was rather interesting. Paul, so do you have any other recommendations for necromantic daemons? Not necessarily for protection, but for communication. I like Boon specifically for necromantic stuff. Boon kind of acts as the guardian of the gates, just to make sure you don't get any parasites come through, but can also help with communication. But otherwise, the Eurynomus is probably my go-to in regards to working with the dead. Yeah, specifically Eurynomus. Baba El is more the Prince of the Graves, and that type of thing. And I forget the name of the other one now. Who's actually, it's about the actual passing over of the dead, because there's different processes within death itself, so you have these various different spirits that kind of handle those things. But Eurynomus, I love Eurynomus. Eurynomus comes with that very kind of gentle, old man, grandfatherly energy, which I kind of like. If it's in regards to grieving, I find Leviathan to be incredibly useful in that regard, because Leviathan kind of balances out the emotions and allows the person to grieve, go through the actual process, which is a very important part of the, of going. You've got to go through the grief process. You've got to block it out or eliminate it, but allows the person to kind of go through it without being overwhelmed. So yeah, Leviathan kind of balances those emotions out, which I find very useful for grieving people. Excuse me. So that would be my kind of little set of spirits. Morningstar, I call onto Astros to protect my daughters. Lately I feel like I've been hexed, things not turning up for me. It sucks. I just feel like my essence is being siphoned. I'd like some pointers to help me. Do your cleansing work. Make sure you've got wards in place and things like that. Just keep those things up. If there's nothing specific that is kind of targeting you, then it's probably just general life, and it happens. I mean, the past almost 3.5 months now have just been really terrible on my side. But it's just the energies that ebb and flow, and we can kind of navigate through them, and we can use magic, but you've sometimes got to go through those ebbs and flows to get to the other side. So just allow what's happening to happen. As I said, if you're not actually being targeted, and just make sure you're doing your cleansing. Make sure you're keeping your protection up, your shields, your wards, and everything else, and ride the wave type of thing. As above, so below. It's about protection at work and structure for my day-to-day, protection from my own racing thoughts when my ADHD gets to me. Yeah, Saturn can probably help with that, I would say, because it can help with the ADHD from a kind of organizational perspective, kind of organizing your thoughts and things like that. So I don't see anything wrong with that. Can't think of anything that would create any negative results from that. G-Labs, hello. Thanks for joining. G-Labs, why are words and mantras effective, assuming that they are? Because everything vibrates. And when you're using something which, in the case of mantras, would be something which is using an ancient language, Sanskrit in this case, you are connecting with particular vibrational states. You know, in mantras you've got bead sounds or seed sounds, which kind of, they're said to make up the building blocks of the universe. Om, for instance, is the first sound ever made, and then you've got the seed sounds, or the bead sounds. They then, and it all comes back to the actual Sanskrit alphabet and the consonants and vowels and everything else within the alphabet. But then you put them together in a particular format and they become powerful. And they also call on particular energies, and gods and goddesses and things like that, which are pulling in those energies so that you can actually vibrate it or resonate with that energy. And words in general, if you look into like rhyming couplets and charms, like from the old European witchcraft, folk magic, there's meter that starts to come in. There's a rhyming, there's an alliteration in some of them, and that just starts to create a rhythm and a pattern, and can actually, if you continue to repeat it over and over again, these patterns from the sounds, from the words, you start to go into trance, and that then brings you into a liminal state where you can do magic. So words or names of power as well, that goes back to, again, is an old language that has particular potency. Names of power within the Hebrew tradition, that's using the Hebrew alphabet, and each letter in the Hebrew alphabet is said to be tied to an angelic force. So you got all these things that start to happen, but very potent stuff can happen with words and sounds, vibrations. Andrew, I can't remember if I was here last Sunday and I had a bit of a scare and had to go. You did mention that you went to the hospital because you had chest pains. I hope you're okay. I hope everything's good. Mimelek's here, Mimelek, and Dibs. I don't know if you said hello earlier, so I'm going to say hello again. Sorry to hear that, Andrea. I hope you're better now. G-Labs, would you be willing to rank it a list of most effective to least? Example: visualization, sigils, entheogens, words, mantra. Oh, that's a very difficult one. Because I'm not even sure what the entire list is. And it depends on the person, Entheogens for me wouldn't work. Sigils I find very useful. Visualization is a part of practically every part of magic and spell work. And words and mantras are something we use every day. We speak, we talk. And when we talk, we put things into vibration. And what we say can matter, can affect things. But as I said, some people don't like using sigils, so that's not going to be effective for them, whereas other people find it more effective than candle magic, for instance. Candle magic I find incredibly effective. I wouldn't be able to rank them. Is it sigils or candle magic which is like more effective? So it really, really does depend on the person. Morning Star, thanks, I appreciate it much. I just have to buck up, the sun will shine on me again. Yes, no, just, as I say, the thing is we go through these cycles all the time, and sometimes, people can be arseholes and they can do things which are untoward, and they have to be dealt with. But sometimes it really is just those cycles that we're going through, and we have to kind of recognize that. One way to figure it out is to do divination. You know, ask the source that you're using, whether it's tarot or pendulum or whatever, if you are just going through one of life's cycles, and then start divining whether it's something you can actually bypass or whether it's something you have to go through. If you have to go through it, how can you go through it easier? And all that, you know, you can figure out a lot through divination. So try and give that a bash. Is above so below, damn lunch break's over. Oh no, okay. Well, see you next time, and have a good day at work. Andrea, thank you, much better. That's good. Belem, hello. Thanks for joining. I mainly use ends and sigils as I'm not very good at visualization. Ends and sigils are very effective. And again, you know, it depends on the person. Using sigils can be done in a variety of different ways. Just gazing at a sigil can call on a spirit, but drawing it over and over again is also very, very effective. So yeah. Again, depends on the person. And some people do have aphantasia, so you know, visualization is not something for them. Their visualization abilities have to come in different forms. It doesn't mean a person with aphantasia can't visualize. It's just a word we use, which means not just pictorial, if we can put it that way. I don't know. You know, visualization encompasses feelings, emotions, sounds. It's very a variety of different things. G-Labs, anything to keep in mind when saying the words? Think of the outcome when saying it. Depends what you're doing. For instance, if you're using a charm, then you know obviously the words of the charm will actually bring your attention towards a particular thing, whether it's healing or money or you know attraction or whatever that may be. If it's a mantra to a Hindu deity, then you're going to want to focus on the deity themselves, not the results. But this is actually a mistake that a lot of people make, and I've seen it on Reddit and boards and everywhere. A lot of people kind of like say, I was told to chant Shiva's mantra 1,008 times to get X, Y, and Z, or Lakshmi. Lakshmi is usually one of the better examples here, because people always want riches and wealth. So they kind of like say that Lakshmi's mantra 1,008 or 40,000 times or whatever it is, and nothing happened. And it's because they're when they're doing it, they're focusing on the results, because all they want is the money. But when you're doing that, it's about the devotion. It's about the love for Lakshmi. It's not about the money. And if you show devotion and love and bhakti towards Lakshmi, she'll reward you with riches and stuff like that. But yeah, our aim is sometimes not in the right place. So you know, if you're not getting the results, question what your motives are. Right, Yolandi, I've been having weird dreams for the past few nights, mainly involving people that I was at school with that I've lost touch with. Yeah, I think can't remember if we're going through some astrological, some weird astrological weather at the moment. I think we might be, and it's We've got an eclipse, I think in like half an hour or so. So it might be affecting things. Uriel. Hello, hello. If I have 10 statues of Santa Muerte, are they all the same spirit, or are they each different spirits? Reason I ask, so I know what to do with offerings. For all of Santa Muerte, they're probably the same. I mean, the statues themselves aren't spirit, they are just idols, representations of the spirit. In which case you only actually need one. But if you got 10, that's cool. But yeah, you'll be offering to Santa Muerte, to that particular spirit. Yeah. I mean, they're not all different spirits. It's a connection, a focal point to the energy, which is that spirit. Castle is full moon has messed me up. Some full moons aren't very friendly to me either. I prefer the new moons. I don't like the full moons, to be honest. Like, speaking of dreams and people, my late aunt came to my dream recently, but didn't make much sense. Do you mean your late aunt's like kind of said something which didn't make sense, or the fact that she came to your dream didn't make sense? What about secret words that you learn in certain orders, etc.? How does one use that? That entirely depends on the tradition. That's a traditional thing that stays within the tradition or the order. And how you use them is completely dependent on what you're taught. So I can't say anything about that. Bobby Mordka, hello. Saw a video about harm goals on Esoterica, but I thought that the hatred of angels towards humans would have a strong basis in the Bible, etc. Content discussed can easily be dismissed. I think a lot of content that's discussed in this regard can be easily dismissed. I mean, that specifically comes from the Mercavistic, the people that were doing the Mercavistic journeys, and involved in the Mercavistic mysticism. But it doesn't stop with them. I can't think of specific sources now, but there are a lot of people that consider the angels to be quite dangerous, actually, because they are forces they are the forces of the cosmos. They're not individual beings. Well, yeah, kind of, but they kind of, I don't know. It's difficult. It really is difficult because they kind of move within currents and flows. They're not individual entities with names, like archangels, for instance. Angels are completely different things, and they have certain roles, and they can't move away from those roles. But yeah, I don't know. It's not really something I pursue myself. Remember, like setting snow or drugs covering lawn. And I don't do drug powders or otherwise. Police officer also, and me telling it was her drugs. Oh, your aunt. Oh, okay. I forgot what you're talking about then. Snow or drugs covering lawn. Police officer also, me telling it was her drugs. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. That's just completely abstract. Castle works with Santa Muerte. At Uriel. Just bless the statue of Santa Muerte. They're just different aspects of her. I do work with her. She's my goddess. Yeah, if I will say if particular spirits have different mantles that they put on. I think I've seen it, the red Santa Muerte and the green Santa Muerte and things like that. Can't remember exactly. So I'm assuming that's what you're talking about anyway. Brigand, hello. Thanks for joining. A bit late, but always busy this time on Sunday. No problem. Richard, blood moon looks great tonight. Unfortunately, this idea of the blood moon's a load of rubbish. It's just an eclipse. They just decided to name it a blood moon because it's an eclipse, and it makes it sound better. But it's one of these new age mangled ideas. So I'm just going to have a strepsil. That'd be more cut. Planetary forces equals demons and intelligences equals angels. Yes, no. So this is going into the planetary intelligences and the spirits. And one view on that is that the intelligences, or sometimes called the angels, are and again, I wouldn't call them angels. I would call them intelligences, because this is specific to the planetary forces, and they have names. So I wouldn't call them angels myself. But the intelligences are considered to be the good forces, and the spirits, or sometimes called the demons, are therefore the bad force, or the negative force. And I wouldn't consider that to be the case. I consider the intelligence to be, if you were to kind of open the floodgates of planetary energy, all that energy just comes through, rushing through, this big burst of energy, and it's chaotic. It's not finely tuned. It's just the force of the energy. Like, as I said, opening the floodgate, and the water just comes through. And then the spirit, you then call the spirit to kind of fine tune, to move that energy into a more precise, targeted aspect. That's how I work with it, with the intelligences and the spirits. That's how I see it. That's how I work with them in that regard. So that makes sense to me. And it's very similar to angels and demons, actually. I mean, if you consider the angels are the forces that come through, and then you fine tune that into a more phonic relationship. It's more defined. Yandy at Castle, the neighbour of mine, is busy moving out. Thank you again for your help. Yeah, I remember that. Castle, black and red is my favourite one to work with. Santa Muerte, but white is good for healing. Richard, well, it looks nice. Yeah, I'm sure it does. I haven't seen it. I'll have to go check after this. But I'll probably forget when I go offline. Castle, you're very welcome at Yolandi. The goddess was happy to help you. Andy, do you still have the recipe I sent you for the cold medicine? I don't know. I think it's just hay fever though. It's just buggering up my throat. Got a load of stuff to take, so it'll be alright. I have a modcast, a friend who works with Saint Lucia for a tarot reading about my practice with La Santa Muerte, and she got a disaster. I'm a little disappointed. What about the forces and intelligences of Earth, gnomes, and etc.? What do you mean? I'm not sure what you mean by she got a disaster. I mean, you have to also remember that a lot of people are on this, have this idea that spirits like Santa Muerte are kind of, I'm going to say evil. They just think, their spirits are evil. It's not the case. So that's kind of like the immediate response. I don't know if that's the case. Yeah. But what disaster and why? What were you disappointed about? And what about the forces intelligence of Earth? So you're talking about the elemental forces. That's more phonic, and that's more related to our immediate environment and ourselves. Gnomes and King Gob, for instance, would be called specifically for the element of Earth itself. Salamanders and King Jin for fire, the Undines and King Nyxa for water, and Sylphs and King Peralda for air. And we can then extend that into the archangels within the Hermetic tradition and Kabbalistic tradition, where we have Raphael, Michael, Javriel, and Uriel. They are the elemental intelligences. We can extend that into demonology, where we have Lucifer, Flerius, Leviathan, and Belial. Again, the kings of the elements. And I would consider them all to be the same entity. We just give them different names. But yeah, that's more kind of related to the physical makeup. I mean, there are kind of spiritual occult elements, but it's largely about physical makeup of things. Castle, Bobby Morco, that's funny, she doesn't like getting used sentimentally. Excuse me. Balam, have you ever worked with Duke Gushan? No. It started to interest me a lot. Let me see if I've got Gushan on my thingy. Let's see what Gushan. Tells of things past, present, and to come. I think all they all do, really. And showeth the meaning and resolution of all questions thou mayest ask. He concileth and reconcileth friendships, and giveth honour and dignity unto any. Yeah, something I've never had a use for, or a need for. This is the one with the Xenophilus, and we could never figure out what a Xenophilus was. I think we got close. Maybe I'll send it again. That sounds like a cold. I don't want to get worse. I was on 2 courses of antibiotics and cortisone, and I'm still not 100%. Yeah, should be okay. Better than I did this morning, so. Alexis, hello Alexis. Good evening from Bulgaria. It's 8:37 there. You're an hour ahead of me then. Castle, Dandelion, and Chrysanthemum. Chrysanthus or Chrysanthemum. She can help you. Alright. Thank you. If having Mordecai, I was wondering what the effects would be when I started working with LSM. And she said it will be a disaster. It's a bit strange when you have so much energy related to death in your cosmogram. Yeah, just remember that was one person's opinion. That's why I don't like going to other people. This is something someone I very much trust, and who is very open to many things. But I don't usually like, especially when it comes to spirit work. I'd rather go to the spirit themselves, or do divination yourself. Probably the best option. Alexis, how's everything doing? Everyone doing? All okay? Sorry, I'm just chewing a strepsil. Jono, hello Jono. How was your wedding? Hand fasting was beautiful. I'm going to have to start calling myself a pagan and a hippie now. I can't think how it could have been more magical. Call in the elements and Hecate. Nature, spirits, ancestors, everything. It's amazing. Good stuff. That's good. Alexa, sorry for a stupid question, but what is cosmogram? Actually, that's an interesting word. I assume it's a person's cosmology, how they see the structure of the universe. Here we go. Cosmogram depicts a cosmology in a flat geometric form. Yeah, so it's basically it's the circle, the witch's compass. So you got the 4 positions, and you place the elements and place various gods and goddesses in the positions and all that stuff. But it's if you look at the witch's compass, it's very much your personal worldview that you make up, just in a 2-dimensional diagram, and then when you actually lay the compass, you lay it on the ground, but then it becomes a 3-dimensional geosphere and everything else. Gyroscope. That's the word. Castor at Babimorka, working with Bifrons. Be a good go for you because you death you call it. Alexis, Jono, good news. Yolandi, Jono, good to hear. Richard, Jono, sounds like it was a great wedding. Alexis, thank you. That's a pleasure. Castor, I know Bifrons or Bifrons is a cemetery and a death demon, if I'm right. Let's have a look. Close the book now. What's it opening here? Go over there. Jono, Richard, I get God throwing us a bone with great weather and a beautiful day is appreciated. Especially in the UK. Oh, I suppose this time of year you're going to get good weather. Yeah. August not too bad. Have a look. Yeah, Bifrons would be good for working with the dead. Yeah, good call. Yeah, John, I wish you and love and happiness. My tarot about LSM turned out great, but so I'm not sure about my fortune telling. I have no relationship or cult with spirits that could support me when I'm lay out cards. She has own. You don't need spirits to work with any form of divination. It's got nothing to do with the spirits. You're asking, I guess it depends on who you talk to. So in regards, I would say that some divinations you ask yourself. You ask your nefesh, your lower self, because your nefesh has access to all knowledge. If you're doing something like geomancy, it's considered that you getting in communication with the animus, I can't remember, but anima mundi, the spirit of the world. But it's not about having relationships with particular spirits which enhance your divination practice. No, not at all. So I don't think you should be thinking in that regard. But you see, you said your own tarot reading was turned out great, and this person said that it will be a disaster. Don't, just because somebody or don't trust everybody, you know, with readings and stuff. It's better, as I said, I think it's better to kind of approach the spirits yourself and ask them directly. You know, if your relationship with Santa Muerte is going to be a disaster, Santa Muerte will probably tell you. There's no reason for these spirits to kind of hide those things. They're not going to lie to you about it. But if it is going to be a disaster, maybe there's a reason for that. You know, it might be, well, the person may have been given this idea of disaster, but just misinterpreted it. And it's not really a disaster, it's just maybe there's something you have to go through in order to come out the other side better. So this is why, you know, you need to delve into it a bit further. Don't just take it on surface level type thing. Richard at Jono, a good weather day in the UK is always a blessing. It is indeed. Dev sounds wonderful. Jono, Yolandi at Bobby Vodka, try doing pendulum work. I like pendulum myself. Alexis, has anyone heard of a demon type? Demon type angler? It's like parasitic entity, supposedly. I have not. No, never heard of an angler. Above the Mordka, you could work with your land folk, genie, general energy. Yeah, you could do, but you don't. Again, as I said, you don't. It's not necessary when you're doing divination work. Maybe Mordka, Bifrodon's working with death and demons has the fundamental disadvantage that the demons can cause dramatic, painful and violent changes. Any spirit can do that. This isn't just, we're not talking just demons. Any spirit can do that. Any god, goddess. Because if you start seriously working with a spirit, whatever spirit it is, if you start seriously working with that particular spirit, you're going to bring in a particular energy which you are then going to start resonating with. And that's a shift in your own energy. And that can cause dramatic, painful and violent changes. It might not be. You might not need that. But it's not, you know, something that you should shy away from. Because if you're in a bad situation, those changes are made in order to get you into a better situation. But yeah, no, it's not just demons, it's every spirit. But as I said, it's because those changes need to be made, usually. And if those changes don't need to be made, if you're, you know, cruising along at a good rate, then you're not going to get those dramatic, painful and violent changes, because the changes just don't need to be made. Jolo Eclipse now, still lighting Cambridgeshire. Anyone here making a thing of it? I'm busy making eclipse societies. Dead energy societies, because there's nothing happening during the eclipse. Yeah. Castle. Yes, Santa Mote will tell you very directly. Yeah, if you don't listen, she will destroy everything around you to make sure you understand her point. Yeah, a lot of these spirits are very direct. They're not going to screw around with you. You know, they're not going to lie to you. They're just going to tell you straight because they've got no reason to lie to you. There's no agenda. Andrea back from the kitchen. Hi, Jono. Nothing more to care. Maybe disaster in my case means traumatic changes. Apparently, I'm a person who goes through transformations, through traumas and crises. Could be, but as I said, you know, you're going to have to. Best thing to do is your divination to get into what it actually is. Andy, I'm not doing anything with the eclipse. I'm waiting for it to pass before doing any workings during eclipse goes wrong. Yeah, I agree. Castor, how is your horses and how's your epilepsy, Andrea? Jono, hi Andrea. Berlin, this is something I feel that my guides are pushing me towards. Although so far it isn't a rapid speed, but slow movement is better than no movement or change. Yeah, no. Slow is actually better usually. Those very sudden changes that usually one after the other that kind of disrupt your life so much it's just difficult to get through. Sometimes it's necessary, but yeah, if it's slow changes, take it. Andrea at Castle, everything worked out well for the horse, thank you, my health is good also, good stuff. Belem at Babimorka, why would that be a disadvantage? Change is a necessity of life. It is, but it's sometimes not easy to go through. It's a lot of people fear change because it's difficult, it's painful sometimes. But yeah, I agree, it is a necessity in life. Got to keep going through changes and keep adjusting and flowing and moving and everything else. Cassie, you're welcome. Andrea, I'll keep praying for you. I'm glad you are well. Thank you that spirits considered as tricksters could lie to you, right? They can do, yes. They usually have a very particular reason for doing that, and it's usually to lead you into something that you should be doing. So, you know, that's kind of like, it's almost like a white lie type of thing. It's a lie that's good for you. But, you know, in the case of this, for instance, you know, if working with Santa Muerte is going to completely and utterly destroy Babimorka's life, then that's something that the spirit's going to say, you know, if you work with me, your life's going to be fucked up. And therefore you don't want to work with that spirit. But if that destruction results in a positive change, then maybe that's something you need to go through. But you've got to find out. So, you know, we do the divination to find out. But yes, in the case of trickster spirits, they will sometimes lie in order to lead you down a path which you need to go down in order to improve or better your circumstances, or make a big change in your life. So it's not a negative thing in that regard. Babimorka change is not bad, especially for the better, but the form and the path to better can sometimes be dramatic. Yeah, I'm tired of the dramas in my life, and this is supposedly just the beginning of initiation. Yeah, well, yeah. We all have shit. But yeah, I mean, if it's a constant in your life, I can understand why you wouldn't want to keep going through change. But as I said, do the divination to find out if it's something that's going to be better at the end of the day, and then maybe you want to consider going through that. You have the choice at the end of the day. You know, you don't have to do anything. If you find out that it's going to be a rough road, but it's better at the end, and you don't want to go through that rough road, don't go through that rough road. It's your choice. You know, it's not something that gets forced upon you at all. But yeah. Castle, some people like the stagnation and don't want change. Yeah, that's unfortunate, really. Yeah, I think we should be constantly growing. Hate to be stagnant myself. Landy asked me, I went through some painful changes, came out on the other side feeling better, calmer, and just working on my sleep pattern still. Yeah, it's rough. It can be an extremely rough road, but sometimes it's a necessity. Alexis agreed, dramas are not fun, mundane life is already full of unnecessary drama. Yeah, at Castle I doubt anyone likes stagnation. They're just scared and learn to get used to it. Yeah, I'd actually agree, that's usually the case. Kind of like just live with second best almost. And Alexis at Eulandia says, great, happy for your improvement. Andrea, yes, I had to get myself thrown out of the bedsit in order to move house to my lovely real home. There you go. Cass or at Alexis, they just accept their fate and not change, but you have keys to your own prison. Yeah. Alright, I'm going to cut today's live a bit short because my throat's not doing great tonight. But let's just carry on for a couple minutes in case anybody's got any important questions. Alexis at Castle, keys to your own prison, this is true too. Jono, I'm a feminist, but final last words while I drive in my own coffin nails. I've noticed there is an inordinate, nonsensical amount of drama in the witchy community. Is this an estrogen thing? No, that's just the witchy community. That's always been and always will be. There's always going to be drama and witch wars and everything else. Because, especially in the witchy communities, because we are so outspoken, you know, and because of that we want to be heard, and quite often, sometimes it is people who want to prove themselves correct, and you know, it gets to the point where their truth is the only truth, which is a load of bullshit that comes from Christian worldview that they're just carried over. But yeah, I think witches are very, very opinionated at the end of the day, and that's, you know, that's it. Elandia Alexis, it was a full tower moment. One stage, I felt like I was going to lose my mind. I just kept on swimming. That's what you gotta do. Logan Walker, feminist, my John O, this is the other side of the coin called chauvinism. Leave it. Andrea, thank you, Lee. I hope you feel better soon. Ed, pleasure. Thank you. Yeah. Over here. Richard, good night. Good night. Thanks for joining. Zanka, thanks for joining. Right, yeah, I'm gonna go. Hope everybody has a fantastic week, and I'll see you all next week. Have a good one.